What's wrong with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? And by this I don't mean Roald Dahl's book, which is not one of his best, but it's good. I remember I've read it a fair few times, enjoyed it a lot as a child. But I'm referring to Tim Burton's film, which I'd never watched when it came out. I don't know, I happened to miss it at the cinema, I think, and I just thought, well, I'm not too fussed about that. I had heard a lot of people saying it was weird, and I don't know. I wouldn't have minded watching it, but I didn't end up watching it. So years and years later, I was perusing Netflix one night, Reese the other day, and I thought, you know what? I'll give it a try. I mean, it was sort of the first film of Tim Burton's spiral into sort of Disney madness, wasn't it? It's with that Alice in Wonderland. Oh, that was weird and rough. Not for me. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. A lot of things were wrong with it. First of all, it was made. I don't know. It didn't. It doesn't seem like it was made that early on into CG, but it's full of just bad CGI. With things which didn't need to be, like even the opening titles. You got this shot which could have been quite nice if it was done with just machinery and physical things, but as it was so it was the shot inside the factory of the chocolate being made or being wrapped up and things, and it just looked cheap and false. It didn't make me think, oh, this is going to be good. It was a instant sort of turn off. And you go up Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, up the chocolate factory and inside the chimney, and it's like, well, this all just looks cheap. It's terrible. I thought this was supposed to be a huge, blockbuster. It just looked bad, and I guess that's because the CG hasn't aged well. Maybe at the time it would have been more cutting edge, but I'm not sure. But they could have just done it with a factory. It would have been a bit more expensive, maybe. I just have a real hatred of just CG's fine when it's needed, when it's things that you can't do. Even then, I'd maybe prefer like another technique, like drawing or something. The example I always think of CG, which I remember thinking, well, that's great. You should use that. It's the first Transformers film. It's like, this looks amazing. These great, giant, metallic, crashing robots. You could not do that any other way. But I feel like if you can avoid using CG, I'd always prefer it if you did. And I hate the fact that the great tradition of physical effects going back to Ray Harryhausen all the way up to, I don't know, like something like Rob Bottin in the work in The Thing. This is so amazing, and I love that. I love physical effects, and I'm sad that they're not used in things they really could be, but it seems cheaper and easier to do it on a computer, and it just doesn't. It's not as good. Anyway, that's a side rant, I guess. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah, I'd heard this one thing with that Willy Wonka, Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka, is just creepy and weird, and he is. Like it was a real misfire. What were they going for? I don't know, but it didn't work. It was like, I guess they were going for a different character. They were going for obviously change the age to massively younger. So why is he retiring? That's never explained. He's not of retirement age. He's in his late 30s or something. His face is so smoothed out. He could be 20, 25, and it's like, why is he retiring? He's got his whole career ahead of him. That's as far as I know, unless I'm being stupid, that is never explained in the film, which is a glaring weird element. And actually, I've got to put a side note in saying I'm not generally someone who likes to pick apart films. I have a long stand, or I do. I like to analyze them, but I have a long-standing sort of debate with one of my best friends, who is also a big film fan, and he says that I'm far too lenient on the films. And I guess I am in a way. Like, that's why I wouldn't be a good film critic, because I like to like films, especially if I'm in the cinema. I just enjoy the experience, and generally I'll find something to like about a film. It could be really bad. There are some exceptions. If I'm watching on a small screen, I think I'm more critical. That's true, because I haven't paid. I guess that's the difference. I'm not invested so much. It's like I really want this to be good. Otherwise, or I want to enjoy this a bit. Otherwise, it's anyway. Ramble. That's a bit of a side ramble, but let's get on with this. So, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, number one, looks terrible. The CGI. There were things that. Now, I'm not someone who complains about differences from the book, because I know films and books are not the same, and often you change a lot of things to make a better film. But there were things like, just little things, but like the pipes sucking up the chocolate to the distribution pipes sucking up from the chocolate river. Why were they like magically floating around? And then they didn't seem to go anywhere, and it just didn't ring true. It's like, why not just have the pipes? It's impressive enough. They don't need to be these like magical floating pipes that go around, and then where would they be connected to? They don't seem to be connected to anything. Like the fixed factory pipes sucking up huge amounts of chocolate from a chocolate river is magical enough. And instead of making these weird like CGI things, just have a